Was this your first time in Texas?
No, I've been here before.
You've been to Austin before?
Yes.
So for people who don't know your story, I'm just going to give them a primer just to sort of establish your history. You were born in North Korea and you escaped North Korea when you were 13. Is that how old you were?
Mm-hmm.
I think we should start off with what it was like living in North Korea. I saw your interview with Jordan Peterson, and it was incredibly moving, and it was incredibly disturbing and eye-opening, and it's hard to believe for people that don't know what life is like in North Korea, the reality of you growing up in North Korea, but just talking about how you essentially had no food and you would go looking for bugs to eat.
Yeah.
This was the reality of your existence as a child, that there was no protein.
Yeah.
Now that you live here in America and you can kind of eat whatever you want, when you look back on that, what does it seem like to you? Does it seem like reality? Does it seem like a dream? What does your childhood seem like?
Sometimes this feels like dream.
This feels like a dream.
Yeah, so I pinched myself a lot in the beginning because they say if it's not dream, it hurts, right? When you pinch yourself. So a lot of times I pinch myself because sometimes I'm really horrified if I wake up from this, that I'm going to wake up in my living room in North Korea. So sometimes that line is very blurry to me. And because the one common thing that North Koreans all have is actually in our dreams when we sleep, it's back in North Korea. So in our dream, we somehow never able to escape it. So every day my mom wakes up, like she tells me about a story how she was back in North Korea. And I have the exact same thing. No matter what, how many years we left afterwards, in our dreams we are still in that country.
So that's the nightmare. The nightmare is that you're still trapped in North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
When you lived there, you didn't know that there was another way to live.
No. It's like here right now, we cannot imagine a life in some different planet in the universe, right? We just don't know what that life looks like. Exactly the same thing. I never knew the life in different planet could be like.
And where you lived in North Korea, there was no internet.
Yeah.
There's very little electricity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how much education did you get?
I never even seen the map of the world. So as even Asian, I did not even know that I was Asian. So the regime told me I was a Kim Il-sung race.
Kim Il-sung race.
Yeah, and then the North Korean calendar begins when Kim Il-sung was born. That's like Jucheon, that our history begins. So I don't even know what Jesus Christ is. And I don't know anything before Kim. So there was everything before Kim. The history was erased for us. But the thing is that we are hungry, we're starving. If you eat breakfast, you worry about lunch. If you make it to dinner, you are not sure if you're going to make it to tomorrow. So in that scenario, who thinks about history? Nobody thinks about anything other than surviving. And that is why precisely Kim Jong-un keeping us starving mode. Even though the UN, the international organizations, begging to give food and formula to North Korean people, but Kim Jong-un is just saying no to this food aid because he doesn't want us to be fed.
So he's purposely starving the people to keep them weak so that all they think about is surviving, so they don't think about revolution.
It's a Hunger Games. It's like when I was reading this book, Hunger Games, I literally like, oh my God, this person copied North Korea. There's a capital. You divide into 13 different districts. Capital people have everything they need. And on other provinces, their own purpose, they're being starved. So only thing you can think of, your survivor. If you are full in your stomach, right, you're going to start thinking about meaning of life, art, what's out there in the universe. You can do all of that higher thinking when you are full in your stomach. But when you're hungry, the only thing that matters is your hunger.
When did North Korea become what it is now? When did it shift to this totalitarian regime that's starving its people and puts people in these classifications. Like for one example, one of the classifications is if your grandfather or great grandfather committed some sort of a sin, you are perpetually punished for that.
Yeah.
Everyone in your generation, your next generation, all of them are guilty.
Yeah, forever. There's no redemption. If the one person commits a crime in that family clan, 3 to 8 generations gotta be purged.
How many generations?
3 to 8 generations.
3 to 8.
Yes. Mostly commonly 3, but the people like who challenge the regime or challenge the leader, then 8 generations get
8
purged.
generations.
Yeah.
And then after the 8th generation, are they absolved?
No, they are gone.
They're all gone.
Okay, by 8 generation, you even kill the in-laws of somebody in-law. So not even the blood you get purged. If your cousin, somebody marrying the in-law of somebody, so there was one official who escaped, 35,000 people were purged. A lot of them, 80% of them, did not even know that they were related to this person.
Wow.
Yeah, cousins of cousins, somebody. That's how they get rid of the root of entire this clan.
When did this all start?
When Kim Il-sung came into power, so he was a big Marxist and Leninist, and he was a communist. So before the Korean War in 1948, that's when he began this in the name of equality, right? Let's take everything back from the capitalist. Let's nationalize the land, get rid of private property. But he made North Korea into very unequal society, dividing people into 50 different classes.
50.
Yeah.
And the way the classes worked, you couldn't marry up.
No.
Say, like, if you were a higher class and a man wanted to marry you, if he was lower class, you would then become a lower class as well.
That's how they prevent the mixing with the class. So there's no marrying up. You only go down.
So no matter what happens, if you are at a lower class, you stay there forever.
Forever. No chance of moving out of that zone.
And it's not based on merit. It's not based on your performance. It's not based on anything other than the way you were born.
No. This is when I was confused. When I went to South Korea, people say, if you work hard in South Korea, you are going to get rewarded. And that's when I thought, wow, that is justice. Because in North Korea, doesn't matter what you do, what you want to do, what your dreams are. It's already determined by what your ancestors did. But the thing is, how do you choose your ancestor? Right? Like you can never choose your parents.
And you had no idea that there was any other way to live when you're growing up like this.
Because I never seen the map of the world. I didn't even know like the Americans, how they looked like. Because we don't have internet, first of all. We have only one channel that government, controls every single content. We don't even have a cookbook. That's the thing, as a Korean, I don't even know what cookbook is. I mean, first of all, we don't have ingredients. Like, how do you find 1/2 pounds of pork, scallion, blah, blah, right? So cookbook is like pointless. And not only that, there's no fashion because, we don't have freedom to what we wear. So even when I heard the job called modeling, I was like, what is that? So everything that I learned here is like all new concept to me as a North Korean.
So when you would eat, where would you get your food from?
So the land is government's, right? The house is there's no private property, but those farmers working in the collective farm, they smuggle it out and sell it in the black market secretly. So those food if we have money, we go to black market, buy corn, starch, those things. But mostly we just go to mountain to pick up plants, flowers, and like grasshoppers is the biggest protein source for North Koreans.
But the government doesn't provide any food for the people?
I heard they did in the 60s, 70s. But I was born in 1993 in October. And that is right after Soviet Union collapsed. So until then, Soviet Union was subsidizing North Korea's economy heavily. And China did the same. But when they collapsed, they stopped helping North Korean regime. So the regime policy was, if we, as long as keep the 10% alive who are in the capital, our rule is successful. So they were not going to do anything until 90% of the population dies.
Wow.
It's still there, same rule they have. Until the 90% dies out, as long as we keep the 10% alive, we are not going to do anything, intervene the
So
starvation.
there's no effort whatsoever to get food to the people.
It's not like effort. They're actually actively preventing people to get resources. Preventing, right now, even last time the Biden was calling Kim Jong-un, can we give you vaccine? And Kim Jong-un said no. South Korea was calling North Korea last year. There was a big flood. Can we give you at least some medicine? And Kim Jong-un said no, we don't want any medicine.
So because they don't want any aid from the West?
Even South Korea.
Want to keep people as weak as possible.
Exactly. They want us. Today I was on the way here thinking, getting up in North Korea as a child was challenging because every day you get dizzy from the starvation. You get hear noise every single morning when you wake up. It takes 30 minutes to gather your thoughts to able to walk straight because everybody's in that mode of starvation. Yeah. So as you can see me, I'm very small. I eat a lot. I'm still 80 pounds. But when I was escaping, I don't even know how little I was. And North Korean men above 4'10" feet high, they have to go to military. Women too is mandatory. Men have to serve in the military 13 years, mandatory, and women is 10 years.
And most men are very small because of malnutrition?
Yeah, 4'10" feet.
4'10".
Yeah.
Wow. And so they just allow people to forage for themselves. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Find your own food.
Yes.
Are you allowed to have a garden? Can you grow vegetables? Can you have animals?
Well, one of the executions that my mom saw was a young man was eating beef, a cow, because he killed a collective farm cow, and he got executed for that. Everything is owned by the state. In North Korea, you don't even own yourself, right? So I remember going to South Korea. I got a gift one day, and it was a planner. So what you're trying to do is a notebook. And in North Korea, you don't plan your day. You don't get to plan what you do with your life. A week before or a day before, there's announcement from the government how you're gonna spend your day, what to eat, where to go to work, what to do, when to go to sleep. Everything is determined by your own state.
So this guy was executed because he killed one of the state's cows.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to have your own animals. So you can't have chickens or something along those lines?
They might hide it, but last year Kim Jong-un confiscated entire dog from the population.
All the dogs?
Yeah.
That was because of COVID-19, right?
No? Because
wasn't?
He said it was a corrupt Western sentiment where we have pets. So he ordered to kill the entire dogs for the meat. So get rid of dogs because even he just didn't like that it looks like Western having a dog, having a real friendly relationship with the animals.
So everyone's dog in all of North Korea
confiscated.
was confiscated and killed?
Yeah.
And what did they do with the dogs?
I don't know what the regime leaders did.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do they provide you with any food?
No.
No. So you have to find food on your own, and most of the food is wild food, like grasshoppers and flowers that are edible. And
Yeah. So this is why the most bizarre thing is that regime initially said, oh, give us your land, give us your freedom. We are going to provide free health insurance, right? For the education, free housing, free of everything. You don't have to worry about anything. The state is going to be taking care of everything. But after Soviet Union collapsed, North Korea came this idea is called self-reliance. So you're relying on yourself.
But you can't farm.
No, you don't have land. How do you farm? You
Right.
don't have freedom. There's no free market. If my father was sent to prison camp because he sold metals, he sold
Metals, right? Yeah.
Initially he sold rice, dried fish, clocks, and trading is illegal. It's not like he was selling weapons or drugs. Trading is illegal. So how do you be self-reliant?
Yeah. So they just let you figure. So the whole idea is just to keep everybody weak.
Yeah.
It is so strange to someone who has been in America their whole life, like me, to even imagine that at the same time I'm living here. One of the big problems in America is that people eat too much.
Yeah. I heard that.
Isn't that crazy?
I was shocked. I never understood having too much can be a problem. Because I just never knew that could be a possibility of problem.
It's the number one problem here.
Exactly how having too much is a problem. I don't get it.
I think what is the percentage, Jamie? What is the percentage of people in America that are obese? I think it's large. I think it's more than 50%. I think it's and it's a huge factor with diseases, and I mean 78% of the people that are in the ICU for COVID are obese.
Yeah.
What is it?
42%.
43%. So almost half of the people in the country are obese,
Yeah.
meaning they eat far too much food.
Yeah.
And for you, that concept must be insane. You might you're in the upside down world. Like you're in, right?
That's the thing. It's like different planet. The common law that I knew in North Korea doesn't apply here anymore, and it is just so confusing to me. How hard is it not to eat? It's hard when you don't have food and you cannot
Right.
find it. And to me, is that I don't know why that is so challenging.
Could you do me a favor and just push the microphone forward?
Yeah, like this.
Yeah, so it's right in front of you. There you go.
Yes.
So, yeah, it must be, like another planet. The idea of
Yeah.
having too much food.
Yeah, and that's the source of. I mean, they're complaining about it. So I'm like, even that is a reason for complaint.
Yeah.
That's something unbelievable. I just don't get it. How is that? It's so easy. If you have too much, just don't eat it. You just don't put it in your mouth, right? No one is forcing you to eat a lot.
Yeah, but food is addictive. And people like to comfort themselves with food when it's everywhere. And it's also, it's a strange problem, right? The problem of excess. It's a strange problem. Like you have too much.
But this is humanity, or our humanity, we've been starving.
Yeah.
It's the very first time humanity having this much access, and I have some compassion for that. But a lot of problems. Like I met American friends in New York. I went to school there, and like my friends' complaints, I couldn't sympathize in the beginning.
Right.
I literally, because their problem is like some guy they went on a date and they don't call them back, and they call me and complain like there's a people actual problems like life and death.
Yes.
This is not a problem, but.
Well, it's an issue of perspective, right? Like your life, you've seen horrific things, whereas so many people, the worst thing that's ever happened to them is someone broke up with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you were talking about going to the doctor when you were a child, and that this is a very disturbing story, but I want you to try to explain it to people, how people were dying in these hospitals and rats would eat the eyeballs of the people who were dying, and children who were starving would eat the rats. And then the children would die and the rats would eat the children.
Yeah.
Explain what this was like, that you how did you see this?
Well, seeing that the bodies on the streets like everyday thing. It was
Where were the bodies? Like just laying around on the streets?
also they are floating in the rivers, and then they also train station somehow had a lot of dead bodies because North Korea is very cold, and there's a train waiting area, and North Korea has one train go to one distance like once a month, and like here it would take like 1 hour to go the other place. In North Korea it take a month at least to go because there's no electricity, and sometimes people have to push the train.
They have to push the train.
Yeah. Traveling in North Korea is an unbelievably difficult thing within North Korea. So, anyway, so in train stations, that's when people die mostly. And in North Korea, the hardest thing as a child for me is that when my mom goes away to find food, we don't have we don't have phones, we don't have letters. If I say goodbye to her, I don't know when I'm gonna see her again, or if I'm ever gonna see her again, because she could have killed and like raped and starved. You just never know how to find people. So in the morning when you go to walk in the train station, they just put the piles of the dead bodies, and they're all become rigid, right? They're almost like wood piled on them and taking away. And but the thing is, for me, I didn't even know the word compassion. Nobody told me you have to feel bad for it, because for me it's like fish in the water don't notice the water, right? Like that. It was
Right.
something every day I saw as a child.
So you never went days where you didn't see. This is a normal thing to see dead bodies.
It was every day as like normal as like breathing the air right now. And one thing that I still remember is my sister and I was walking by the well. Like in North Korea, we don't have a switch. We don't have running water, obviously. We have to go to well or river to bring the drinking water. And there's a young teenage boy, I think, lying down, and his intestines coming out of his back. When you're really malnourished, that thing all opens up. You got zero fat. Every hole all opens. And you see dogs looking at his organs coming out. And he was still somehow conscious, begging for food at the time.
He was begging for food while his organs were hanging out of his body.
Yeah. And I don't know why he was like pants were off. And I felt nothing. That still haunts me till this day. Like, I don't know how I felt nothing at that point. And that just looked horrible. And because it's just the fact that he's alive and so much flies flying by on his organs, and how he's somehow consciously begging for food. And I didn't feel anything.
You felt no compassion?
No. Nothing.
It was just normal.
Yeah. So that was like daily life thing. And then in the hospital when I was 13 years old, my parents took me to hospital because I was a bad stomach ache. And then we don't have like X-ray machines. We don't have MRI, none of that. Just doctor rubs your belly, and then he says, "Oh, we need to operate on her. I think her like appendix were bursting or something." So that afternoon, they cut me open without any anesthesia. And but it's normal thing. People in North Korea operation without anesthesia. But the chances of you going to surgery is a lot higher for you getting infected because we don't have penicillin. The nurse is using a 1 needle to inject every single patient. So who do you know what the other person has? You get from actually more sick by being in the hospital.
Right.
And this is where we don't, of course, have an indoor bathroom for the patient. We have to go outside. And in between there's a piles of dead human bodies. And that's when I was seeing this somehow rats eating human eyes first for some reason.
Because they're probably soft and easy to eat.
And these women, I don't know, in my age probably, short hair, wearing these flower pants, and when they're dead, all like their mouth is somehow open, and their all eyes are hollow, and you see children like looking at the rats and laughing and chasing them, and adults telling them like, "Don't eat those, you're gonna get sick from it." But of course, kids don't care. Like even finding a rat is delicacy, because even finding a snake is a big prize. You don't find those like often.
So they were finding the rats and then just trying to eat them?
Yeah.
Were they eating them raw?
Sometimes if you find the skin, you do, but they do find some like fire and roast them.
So they were excited to find a rat to eat.
Yeah,
so they were catching them with their hands.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course they do catch them around with their hands. And these piles of human bodies, like she was on top. That's why I was able to see her wearing this flower pants till this. And then like her eyes are so hollow. It's like when you look at the human body, like nothing is left. I think that's what. It's not like just death is sad. It's just like how it becomes nothing. So empty inside. She does not know the shame or pain. Just she was lying there like that. And you see children just chasing them and laughing and try to catch the rats.
And the children didn't feel anything being around the dead bodies. Just it was
No,
normal.
It's our daily normal thing. Seeing a death is like our daily life.
And they would eat the rats and then they would get sick and some of them would die.
Yeah. A lot of them die.
And then the rats would eat them.
Yeah. It's like the cycle we talk about. It's like that's a spring is for North Korea, a season of death.
And so the diseases that they would get from the rats, they were willing to risk those diseases just because of hunger.
Because when there's a North Korean proverb. There's no wish for the person who died after their stomach is full. So even in middle of the earthquake, the North Koreans not try to run. So my mom was talking about the day when she was in the university. There's earthquake happening. And do you know what these students doing? Is not running out of the building and try to survive. They go to kitchen. So before they die, they eat at least. So they can die. So if you have that promise of eating a one meal, they're gonna risk everything for that.
So it's just an entire country in a perpetual state of starvation.
Yeah, I remember playing with this game with my sister as a young girl. I never ate till I felt full. So I would compare myself. Like I tell her, like I can eat 100 bread, and she's like, I can eat the mountains of bread. I can eat like 10,000 more than what you just said, because I don't know the limits of my stomach. 'Cause I never tested it.
So you always were hungry.
Always hungry, never felt full.